Hi guys, Deborah here, Queen of Return. Thank you guys so much for coming back to watch another one of my videos. You know what, you guys, today I want to talk about being authentic. And one of the reasons why I'm talking about being authentic, because it was something that I've had to learn. It was always high up on my list. I can't even say it was high up on my list. I just felt intuitively like I always wanted to be an authentic person. And I couldn't always put that in words. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that that's something I've always desired from the time I can remember. I always wanted to be an authentic person, but I couldn't necessarily put words to it, right? So anyway, that's what I want to talk about today. And one of the ways that I struggle with being authentic, and some people will be like, oh, Debbie, that doesn't seem like the case, is me just speaking, really, and just showing up and being the person that I am and saying what I think. I always would edit myself because I'm just gonna be honest, I'm a pretty smart person, right? I'm often the smartest person in the room, and not always, but I find myself often in rooms where I'm the smartest person. And I would find myself dumbing myself down, not saying and thinking and expressing myself the way that I always wanted. I'm always editing in my head. Should I say this? Should I say that? Or how I could break this down where this person can explain this. I'm always doing that. And that is not being, authentic. I just had to learn. I'm having to learn that, you just need to say it how, you just need to say it how you need to say it. And with the people who are closest to me, I do for the most part. But that was my lack of authenticity, is really just showing up and speaking and saying what I really think and what I feel, because I'm always thinking something. I mean, we're always, all of us are always thinking something, but, I like information. I'm a seeker of information, right? And I'm always knowing something about every subject. And, I used to be a reporter a long time ago. It was my first career. So I know how to digest information, and I love information, right? So I always have information. I always have a little, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on really anything, but I have a lot of information on a lot of different things. So I can talk to people for the most part about anything, because I'm always seeking and I'm always gathering and putting information. So I've got all of these little pockets of information. So if someone wants to talk about anything, I have something for the most part to say about it, because that's just how I am. But sometimes I think, oh, Debbie, they don't really need to hear that, or I don't say it. So anyway, that is what has been my struggle in terms of being authentic, but I'm overcoming that. And, even coming here speaking, I have all these thoughts and these ideas, and the divine was the driving force behind me coming to, come and sit down and saying some of the things that I'm saying. So anyway, but I'm rambling. So we're talking about authenticity, right? So this is my definition for authenticity. Authenticity is when spirit meets physical. When your spiritual self meets your physical self without a break. That is authenticity. Because before we all came here, we made a pact with the divine to show up the way we showed up, to live the life, whatever life that you live. And we all made that pact. And, and that's a pact, that's a decision between you and the divine, right? So if you are in line with that, if you are in line with what you decided to do, you are in line with divine will, right? But in this life, we have to learn how to be in line with that. We have to know when we're out of line with that, when we're out of sync with that. So I'm going to just use my finger here. So this is your spirit world, right? This is your spiritual self. Your spirit self dictates everything, right? And I'm gonna use my cup here, you guys. I have this cup that I bought from Ghana when I was there. This cup right here. You see this symbol? Okay, this symbol this symbol states or reflects how the two worlds meet. Spirit world meets physical world. And the other term that I've used for this is, or not just me, but the Kemites came up with it, of course, was as above, so below. So this would be as above, so below, right? So the spirit world dictates what happens in the physical world. It always starts in the spiritual world. The spiritual world imposes upon the physical world, We don't know that. We're thinking, oh, we're just out here doing some things, you know, we making these decisions in this physical plane, but you're not. What is created in the spiritual world is dictating what's happening down here. So when you have a flow, when we're authentic, when we have this flow that comes from the spiritual world into the physical world, and there's no disconnect. There's no disconnect, right? So our challenge here is to have that, you know, to understand that things are created in the spiritual world, and the spiritual world is imposing, is pushing its wheel down into the physical world. That's what's happening. Getting hot. Where's my fan? Okay, so we have the spiritual world imposing itself onto the physical world, right? And our challenge is to remove that disconnect. And I keep using my finger because that's how I was thinking about it when I wanted to explain it. Okay, so we have the spiritual world and the physical world here, and we have this in the middle that's preventing us. And what do you think this in the middle is preventing us? In the middle, this is all the shoulds. This is what my mama want me to do. This is what my daddy want me to do. This is a job that somebody told me that I should do. This is the man I thought I should marry because, you know, he looked a certain way, you know, but he wasn't the one that the divine wanted for me. This was the school I thought I should go to. This is all the shoulds, all the things. This is what's happening on social media. This is how my body should look. This is how my hair should look. This is how my face should look, you know, how I should wear my makeup. It's all the shoulds. It's all the things that are not in line with what you decided that you were going to do with the divine before you came here. So the challenge is to remove that, you know, try to remove these things that are should and begin to feel and operate. And I'm going to leave that off for a minute. Begin to feel and operate what this is right here, because you're going to feel, that's how you know if you're in line with spirit. You feel it. And so many of us don't feel anymore, right? Because we're working for different corporations. You know, we are married to the wrong people, in the wrong relationships. We're busy looking at what the Joneses are doing next door, so we're not feeling, right? But if you want to know when you're being authentic, you will feel. And the catalyst to that is if you're operating in your true self, you will find that you feel good. And you will find that the people around you feel good, right? Because, you know, and that's tricky. That's a slippery slope, because you can be like, you know, you can be doing some major damage to the people around you. And you're like, oh, I feel good, right? But that is not, it's kind of a two-parter. It's like you feel good, but then the people around you should feel good too. So if you're the only one in the room feeling good and ain't nobody else feeling good, then you're probably not in line with divine will, right? You're probably not in line with divine will. So it's kind of a two-parter. But your feeling nature is one way for you to know that you're showing up authentically, right? And sometimes, you know, in being authentic, in that course to be authentic, you're going to have to upset some things and maybe upset some people, right? Because you may have spent years creating this life that is not authentically you. And then when you start to, you know, try to come in line with who you really are, you may have to move some people and shift some jobs and, you know, have some arguments with some folks, because I definitely had some arguments with some folks as of lately. Just in this quest to be authentically who you are. So don't feel like, okay, I'm moving into being authentic and everything's supposed to be feeling good, right? It will eventually, but you may, in most cases, we have to upset some people, because ultimately, you guys, it is about you and it's about me. And I'm the main actor in my play, in my movie, right? And these other people are supporting actors, and they're going to come around and they're going to upset you. They're going to prick you. They're going to do some things that upset, you know, to not make you feel like you out of line, but they're there for a reason. They're there for a reason because, you know, opposites are there for a reason. Like, you know, I might be on this end and my partner, whoever might be on this end, or my children or whoever, or my coworker might be on this end. They're pricking me, but they're my co-actors. They're in my play. So you can't get upset with them, even though we do, and I know I haven't. you can't get upset if you try to step back and think of things spiritually, but they're there for a reason to kind of help you to come to the middle, middle and be authentically who you really are, right? So, so authenticity is it's kind of tricky, but what I will say is that it feels good when you get there, right? Because you don't have to keep taking off these different hats. When you go into a room, you just who you are. And I find that people just appreciate me more, they just appreciate me more. That's the biggest thing, is that I feel like instead of trying to be something, and it sounds so cliche, as you guys, it sounds like a big cliche, but it's just that, in my mind, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. In my mind, when I think about how I would come into a room and think about the things that I needed to say, if I just go in and I say it, people always will pick up on things that I didn't even think that that was significant. So it may seem insignificant to me, but if I say it and I'm showing up authentically, they're going to pick up what it is that they need to pick up, right? Just like even with me doing this video, I don't know what people are getting from it, right? I don't know. So you're picking up from it what you need to pick up from it. So, and the divine is all, in control of all of that. Only thing we need to do is show up authentically and let this flow happen. Let this flow happen so that we can be happier people. And that's really all I want to say, because I am talking a whole lot. So I just want to encourage everybody to be authentic. And like I said, for myself, it's an ongoing battle. But I'm in the fight. All right. So ashe, ashe, ashe. And I will see you guys for the next video. All right. Bye.